This is how you get a sense of that, because they were essentially trying to hoover up as much as possible in an effort to try to meet the instruction from the defense secretary.
It is really stunning, Oren, just to go through all of this. All right, thank you very much. All right, so Oren Lieberman with that exclusive and first reporting there. Ryan Goodman here out front, former Department of Defense special counsel. So, Ryan, Oren's reporting, I'm not laughing again because it's funny. I'm sort of stunned that they really used keywords history, justice, first to find articles to remove. So literally erasing history. I mean, is there anything legally that can be done about this?
So it's it's laughable in many ways, and even Pete Hegseth is a first of his kind in a certain sense of Secretary of Defense. But it's hard to know how somebody would have standing to bring a case because they would have to show some kind of injury to themselves in a sense. So. That's one aspect of it that would be difficult. But on the other hand, there are several cases now working their way through the courts about how amorphous the government's definition is of DEI. So grants that are being denied to schools, part of the argument by the plaintiffs are, we don't even know what you mean by DEI because it's so ambiguous and it's not putting us on any kind of notice in the ways in which you're interpreting it. This is a very good example for those plaintiffs of the kind of oddity of their definitions that nobody would have expected this is what it meant.
No. And also, I mean, obviously there is subjectivity in whatever is put on websites. We understand that. Yeah, of course that is true. But this is a little disturbing, right?
Yeah.
That you could just take keywords like that and literally erase history. I mean, the word history is in there. All right, the context here also, minutes ago, the president just spoke here as we were getting ready for the show. He urged the Supreme Court to act against judges who are ruling against him and his administration. All right, partly he said, unlawful nationwide injunctions by radical left judges could very well lead to the destruction of our country. These people are lunatics. If Justice Roberts and the United States Supreme Court do not fix this toxic and unprecedented situation immediately, our country is in very serious trouble. Obviously, Roberts had rebuked Trump just the other day for calling on impeaching judges that ruled against him. What do you make of Trump's comments here, though? I mean, he puts Justice Roberts in here by name on purpose.
Yes. So at one level, this is the goose and gander where when a Democratic president is in office, then conservative litigation against that president often seeks out particular judges to get a nationwide injunction. Now, President Trump is in office, and then litigation by certain groups will try to find their particular judge and then get a nationwide injunction. So they've done it back and forth. And that's what he's upset about. But the good part in some respects is that at the end of his irate Truth Social post, he does say the Supreme Court and Chief Justice Roberts has to settle this. Otherwise, we'll be in a bad shape, and which is actually good in a certain respect because he understands that it is for the Supreme Court to decide, not for him to decide. Because otherwise we might wonder, what do you say at the end of the day? I won't listen to it.
There's a silver lining. All right, Ryan Goodman, thank you very much. All right, as we try to understand what these executive orders, mass firings, and cuts actually mean, what's rhetoric, what's real, what's bluster. Alvaro Bedoya is out front. He was an FTC commissioner, and Trump fired him. So here you are, Alvaro, and I appreciate your time. So, Commissioner, were you given any specific reasoning, right, as in it was A, B, or C, as to why you were fired?
None whatsoever, and that's why I'm confident that this was illegal, because the law says, and the Supreme Court has ratified, this needs to be done for cause. It can't just be because the president doesn't like what I think. It has to be done for inefficiency, neglect of duty, or malfeasance, and they allege none of those things.
Okay, so the FTC right now is doing a few things. Enforcing a settlement against X, obviously run by Elon Musk, and Elon Musk is, Trump's side. He's ubiquitous. He's deputy. The FTC has cases against Meta and Amazon. CEOs Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos were with Musk front and center at the inauguration. Do you think any of this, right, the FTC's involvement with those companies and those individuals, or at least the individual in the case of Elon Musk, was related to your firing?
So I don't want to speculate, but I can tell you what one of the last public statements I made before the president tried to fire me. I called out Jeff Bezos for the way he was treating his warehouse workers. His warehouse workers are injured at twice the rate of other warehouses, comparable warehouses. Their employees are forced to work so fast or hard and so hard, their hands stop working. Their wrists break, the disc in their back bulge and break, so much so that Amazon actually has to put vending machines on their warehouse floor that dispense painkillers rather than potato chips or something like that. That was one of the last things I said beforehand. And I will note, after sending, I think, roughly a little under $30 million towards the president, his inauguration, and the first lady in a sweetheart deal cut with Amazon, guess who has been nominated to fill the head of Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA? An Amazon executive. And so I don't think it is wrong to worry that we're headed to a world of corruption and corporate handouts headed towards the FTC.
Okay, so then you get fired. You say after the last thing you speak about is the Amazon case. The White House says now that they're prepared to fight your case all the way to the Supreme Court. It sounds like you are too.
I'll see them there.
So what happens now?
What happens right now is total chaos. Here's another case that I was sitting as a judge on. The FTC staff is alleging that these entities called pharmacy middlemen, known as PBMs, were illegally jacking up the price of insulin. In other words, they were competing not to lower the price of insulin for diabetics, but to raise it. And so they filed a lawsuit. The commission approved it. And me and Commissioner Slaughter, the other commissioner who is the president's trying to legally fire, are sitting as judges in that matter. No one has any idea, Aaron, what's going to happen to this case, because this has never happened before. Will it go away? Will it stay? I don't know. But if you ask who it helps to try to fire me, it's not people trying to pay for insulin. I think it's the kind of billionaires that were behind the president's shoulder at the inauguration.
All right, well, Alvaro, I appreciate your time.